Alright, we're back with the turbocharged Honda 400EX. If you guys missed last video, we set up the turbo in the back here, and the plastics do fit on it still. So that was kind of the goal, is to make a turbo fit in the back with the carburetor and all the piping and have the plastic still fit, so you wouldn't even know it was turbocharged. But this is kind of the setup we have going on now. I did some more research, and I think we're gonna have to change this, but I did silicone everything up so there's no air leaks in the system at all. So we'll test it one more time today, but if it does not work, I think I'm going to do a draw-through system instead of a pull-through, which right now it's pulling through the carburetor and drawing through here. A draw-through would be the carburetor up here drawing through the carburetor. And that's a whole set of problems doing it that way, but I think it's gonna be easier because right now it's trying to draw it up against gravity to the engine right there, and I think that's what's causing the problem. It's not getting any fuel. So we'll try attempting it today to see if it has enough pull to get all the way up through the intake to the engine, but I kind of doubt it. And then today we're going to be routing the oil lines. The oil lines go right here. There's the intake, and then the out port for the oil line is right there. And then this is the water, and that we're going to cap that off. So we're going to run the oil lines down to the actual quad here. I think we're going to cut the line right here and mount rubber lines at a T going over to the turbo right there. And then out, we're going to run a line directly into the fill cap right here. So oil will come back, dump directly into here, and then keep on circulating throughout the system here. I think that's what we're gonna do. But without further ado, let's try testing up this system first, see if it starts up. Last video, we started with the fuel in the bottle right here directly into the intake, but it wouldn't stay running. So today, we're going to try to make this thing idle, and hopefully we can get this system to work so we don't have to modify it anymore, but I highly doubt it's going to work. Alright, so I went to Menards yesterday. So this is what we're going to use for the oil lines. We'll probably cut off a tab right here. And then we've got this one we'll hook up to right here. You can see I'm going to weld that to a plate and then have that line going out. And this will go into a oil line right here. And the port that goes out needs to be bigger than the intake port. So that's why that diameter is a little bit bigger, because you need it to flow out a lot easier than flowing in, because it's being pushed in, it's just flowing out. Let's see, and then this is the boot for the carburetor if we're going to do the flow through system. We've got a bunch of line here, another boot, a couple brass fittings here, more boot, oil cutoff, some clamps, and there was the cap for the cap right here. So what you do is you screw that in and then put the oil line directly into there. Alright, we're gonna get the battery hooked up, try to start this thing up, see what happens, and just kind of test her out. So it looks like we're not getting enough draw to get the fuel up through the carburetor all the way into the intake of the engine. We'll try it one more time here. Obviously it'll start if I put fuel down the intake, but we're not going to do that every single time, and it doesn't stay idling. So I think the better system, or at least we can try to manipulate the system here, the carburetor definitely needs to be above the intake so that gravity feeds down, because those fuel particles are pretty heavy, so I don't think it can get past that bend and through there and all the way to the engine there. So I think we're going to put the carburetor first, then push through the carburetor. So I think that's the plan. All right, looking in the intake, you can see there's like no fuel in there except for the first bend. So it made it up the first bend. You can see it's a little bit wet through here. But after that, it quit and it didn't make it the rest of the way. Alright, so this is what we got going on. We've got the carburetor mounted right there now. Everything is normal, stock, OEM right there. But we added this boot to it to convert down to, I believe that's 1.5 inch pipe. And this is going to be cut either like right here, or I'm going to cut this end of it. This is going to be formed into this. You can see that pipe fits right in there, like that. And then we have to make a bend for another pipe that comes down for the intake right there. Alright, we got that welded up right here, and I just ground it down, and that's a nice tight seal. So that piece is going to fit right here. It's the last piece of the puzzle. We've got a tubing coming from here out to a bend, and this piece will mount right here. This piece is going to go in here like that. There. And it will sit like that. So there's the intake. That's pretty much done. Right, we're gonna make a gasket for right here. Just got some gasket paper here. Probably just cut out a little square of it first. Huge. Let's work with that. Then go like that, and then trace it. Make a dot in there. You also use a drill bit for this. And then we just have to do the inside diameter. pretty close to being good. A little edge right there, but if we put some silicone on this edge, we should be fine. Alright, intake is all bolted up, ready to go. We are going to get the oil line on right there. So for that, we are going to use this thing. So what I'm going to use is part of this one right here. I'm going to use a banjo bolt that will go in there like that. So we'll cut it off right here, and then we've got this line that will go onto that, and we'll clamp that down. So we've got this pipe cutter here, and we're just going to cut off a little bit of this. Probably like right, just so that the line can get on there. Hopefully this works. I use this for my brake lines. Tighten it up a little bit. I should cut it. It's a little bit thicker than brake line, but we'll see. Looks like it's cutting it. Might not be a big enough tool. Oh, there we go. There we go, and see, it doesn't crimp it. So there's a big enough hole in there. And then we'll take this tubing and we'll crimp that to that. And voila, we have an oil line. So let's get that fitted up. So that's gonna go right there. Let's see if it works here. We've got those washers on there, so nothing can go by. We're gonna try to have it come back. To here. You can see the oil line right here. We're gonna try to splice into that. Alright, we're going to get this line off right here first, so we can get the cutter around it. If we can here. We've got this triple valve, so I'm thinking we're going to go in through this one from this line, and then it should disperse this way and this way, you would think. Hopefully. Right, here goes nothing. I guess we're going to cut this line right here. See what happens. Let's see, where does this mount to? Probably cut. I don't want to get in the way of anything. Probably like right there. There we go, two ends of this. Now we're going to get some line. We don't need all this. And when it pumps, it should pump it up through there and out. One going this way, up to this thing, and then one going back to our pump over here. That's what I'm hoping. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. So we'll see. All right, that's what we have so far. You can see it's gonna come up through here, up to there, and then out through here. And then this line will hook up to here like that. But we're just gonna see if oil pumps out through both lines. You can see I made it clear, so we can see if we're getting oil. I guess, let's see. There's a little better view. So if that gets dark right here, we'll be getting oil to it. So let's crank her over and see. It should pump out both lines, but maybe not, because this one, I mean, if we block that, it'll pump up there. So if this one has enough pressure, we should be getting oil to that line. Let's just see. Oh yeah, both lines filled. Hee hee hee. That might work, actually. That'd be pretty sweet. Either way, it's going to be circulating back into there, so either way, it's going to get into that tank. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Alright, you can see there's the setup right there. Then we've got the oil line coming up. We'll probably put like a heat shield on that so it doesn't get hot, but you can see where it comes in right there. So there's no way it's going to get hot anywhere on this thing. And then we'll probably mount this somewhere to the frame. I left some extra space just to work with, but you can see it goes up to there. Intake right there. And then the oil comes out right here. So for that, we're going to get one of these. And then we're going to have to weld it. So it comes out like that. And then we'll do a line coming the other way, dropping down in that tank right there with a fitting. Alright, now that's pretty much flat right there. So then we can weld that right to there like that. Right here is this piece all welded up, good to go. So we're going to tape off this and twist that in there. So let's get some tape, tape that up first. Alright, we got the oil line going out, hooked up right here. It's going to right there. It looks like the fitting I bought for that was the wrong size, so I'm gonna have to go back and find one that fits into there. But basically there's a nipple on there, and we'll screw that in and connect that to the nipple. I'm just gonna leave that out for now. We're gonna see if oil circulates on this thing. But let's just see. I'll turn it on. I'm not going to start it here, but just see if oil pumps here. And I'm trying to get oil to pump to the turbo here. And we'll see if it's pumping. I don't know if it'll pump through or not, but we'll see. At least there's some going to the turbo now. I don't know if it's pumping all the way through or not. I guess we can disconnect it from right here and just see if it's pumping through. It looks like oil was on it, so it's getting some oil. All right, well that's good. Well, should we try starting her up? See what happens here. Obviously, we don't have the jetting correct on this thing right now. We're just gonna see if the turbo works and if we're getting oil pumped to it. So we'll keep the choke on so we get enough fuel. Actually, I don't know if we can because the turbo is pushing through. Here we go. Moment of truth here. Smells like we're getting oil to it, I think. No oil is draining from it. Looks like we're getting oil to it. Is it too much oil? Are we not getting enough gas? Not sure. There we go, that was moving. No oil is being pumped through though. Huh, that's weird. No oil is being pumped through here. So I don't know what's going on there. Kind of weird. Oh, we've got oil pumping through the line over here now. Sweet. It's finally pumping through. You can see. So that's good, it's working. No leaking yet. It's just probably not getting enough gas. Alright, so you can see it probably needs some modification at the carburetor. Alright, so we have the easy part done, getting the turbo hooked up, oil lines routed properly, that's all working properly. Now we have to somehow get this carburetor to be pressurized, basically matching the pressure of the intake right here. So the air that's blowing through here is pressurizing the carburetor, and because it's being pressurized, it's pushing gas out of the vents and everything like that. So basically you have to have the float bowl pressurized and then all the vents from the carburetor pressurized. And what a lot of people do is they build a pressurized box around the carburetor so that every single line or vent coming out of the carburetor is pressurized all the same. And then some people do separate lines to them too. And then also people pressurize the fuel going into the carburetor. So you need a little bit more fuel pressure than what's going into the carburetor, just so that it can get fuel. So I don't really know how to compensate for that. I think we might add a fuel pump to begin with and see what that does. All right, we got a fuel pump hooked up here. I don't know if it's pumping much. Oh, here we go. Probably should turn it on here. All right, it's pumping. It stopped. Let's see what happens here. I'll start her up. Doesn't seem like it's running any better. I don't know. I think we have to pressurize the carburetor somehow. Looks like we've got a leak right here and a weld too we have to fix. Alright, we've got the carburetor apart here, and I was just trying to see what ports were going to the float bowl. And so figuring this out, so looking at the float, we can see this one goes to this one, so that pressurizes the float bowl, and that's for the overflow. So we have to hook up a line to that and then reference that to boost, and then the other one that goes to it is right here. That line goes down right to there, to that hole right there, and that we have to reference to boost. So basically we have to get this one and this one to be the same pressure, and then this one right here, right there, there's a hole in there. That one goes to the main jet. So that also goes to the float bowl. So that one we're going to have to tap off. So we're going to tap into that, and then probably put like a little screw with some silicone on it to tap into that so we can block that off. And then we have to hook all these lines up together and then to boost. So that will pressurize the carburetor. And then I think for the main jet we're going to go up a size, a couple sizes. It's 155 right now. You can see it's 155 right now. We're going to stay with the same pilot size because right now it seems to idle pretty good. But when you rev it up, you can see that it almost like runs out of fuel. Alright, we got the pump going right now, but we've got all the lines hooked up. And then they tee up into here. And then that goes up into here, teeing in. Oh, that came off, but it's supposed to go into here. And then underneath by the float bowl. So everything is hooked up properly. Let's try this out. I'll hook up that tee again here. Seems like it's running a little bit better. Runs a little bit better. Sounds like it's making some boost. Running a lot better. I'm looking for any holes. There's a hole right there we need to patch up. But otherwise, it's not running too bad. Hooking up those lines to the carburetor really helped a ton. That sounded pretty good. Alright, so if we had a boost gauge, we can kind of gauge how much boost we're making. It does sound like we're making some. Now, we are going to get everything hooked up a lot better. I'm going to get some smaller attachments here. And then we're going to attempt to ride this thing. We gotta get the fuel pump hooked up, probably underneath the frame over here. And what else? All these lines routed and on the frame. It looks like the oil is working. That's pumping, so that's good. So everything else is working. We've got a 165 main in there right now, and it seems to be doing pretty good. We might have to bump that up to like a 170, 175, but right now it seems pretty decent. Alright, just went to the store, bought up a little exhaust pipe for this thing, so that's going to go right there. It's going to go into that plate, and then it'll stick out the back kind of like that. That'll be pretty sweet. So that'll go there. And then look what I picked up here. Little boost gauge. That'll get mounted probably up here somewhere. And then routed. I think we're going to go into the manifold right here. I have to look up the best spot to do it, either before the carburetor or after. Some people do a T, doing before and after to get the most accurate reading. We might tap into that right there, and then just run a line up to it from there and then mount it. And then we got some more line, cables. Let's see if this thing works for the oil fitting here. That might work. We'll test that out. And then we've got a couple more tees, a couple more plastic tees I found, like that, smaller diameter. Some more line. And I thought we bought something else. Oh yeah, a switch for the fuel pump. So that will go right there. So you can just switch that on whenever you want. So when you start it up, you can switch on the fuel pump. That way it won't always be on, draining the battery. But yeah, next video we will unbox that, get that gauge on, get everything set up, and we'll take it for the first ride. But this video we just got it all prepped, ready to go, and next video should be the first ride. We might have to do a little bit more fine tuning to the carburetor, but so far I think it's going to be pretty good. We'll know on the first ride, because right now, I mean, you can't really make boost when it's in neutral. So we'll know for sure next video. So stay tuned, leave suggestions and comments down below. If you guys think I need to fix anything on this setup, let me know. So far it looks pretty good to me, but again, this is my first time doing this, so all the experts in the comments let me know, because I will read every comment, and anything helps. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for the first ride coming up, and we'll see how much boost, if any, this thing can make. Till next time, we are out.